kinds of good stuff today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. We will not get anything from inside the locker room today, man. Mike Clemens, under the weather, texted me this morning and said, and emailed too, and said, hey, under the weather, the chills, the fever, the cough, the whole thing, the cold, which seems to be going around. I mean, everybody's got it. Good gosh, everybody I know, or their girlfriends, boyfriends, spouses, whatever, are down with this. Whatever the creeping crud is, it's floating around out there. But, take care of yourself because it's kind of nasty. Kristen's been dealing with it. Not the fever part of it, but like freezing cold, body just freezing cold, can't get warm, but no fever. And then your like skin hurts to the touch and you're coughing and your chest is tight and you can't breathe and, you're miserable. And then all of a sudden you're sweating and you can't, you're peeling off everything that you just threw on, blankets, covers, sweatshirts and stuff. And so whatever it happens to be, man, holy mackerel, it's kind of nasty. So take care of yourself. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to find us, go ahead and do so. That's the way to do it. If you want to find us over on Twitter, @Bill_Michaels, @Bill_Michaels. You can find us there. You can also find us, if you choose to do so, you can find us over on Instagram @The Bill Michaels Show, The Bill Michaels Show. You can find us there. You can also track us down on where else? You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. YouTube, go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. And so many other, ways to get a hold of the program. Always appreciate it when you do. Find Grant @WiscoGrant over on Twitter. And you can always email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Grant Bills, how you doing today? Yeah? Good.
And I know we listened to a little bit of that last night. Like, I am so amped for Packers Bears and to have Brad Biggs coming on today and Andy Herman. Like, this is just an awesome final week of the Packers season. So I'm doing great.
Yeah, we've got a lot of good stuff, and hopefully, kind of entertains throughout the day. But I was on with our buddy Ernie over in Viroqua this morning. I was talking to him, and I had a couple of friends that I was kind of touching base with, and we're prepping for Super Bowl. So I had meetings this morning in regards to coverage for out there, and the question is by everybody, will the Packers, which Packers team is going to show up? And a lot of people feel the same way I do. You remember going back to when they faced Tampa Bay. And I was confident. I felt good. They were coming off of some good games. They came off of that bad game against New York. And I thought, okay, that was a hiccup. No problem. They're going to bounce back and be great. And then they laid an egg against Baker Mayfield at home. And so I think I feel confident in this game, but there's a lot of really cautious optimism from a lot of people. And Bears fans are beginning to infiltrate Lambeau Field. For those of you that it's not going to be a freezing cold game. This game for the Packers means something. So I'm thinking to myself, why are people selling their tickets for this one? It's not a bad game to go to. I mean, we've been to a lot worse in January. That's for damn sure. And it's going to be above freezing from what I understand. Well, I mean, once we get the game time, it'll be a little bit colder, but we'll be right around freezing. And that's not bad for what we've had in the past. But people are selling their tickets off and prices are going up and up and up. It's now up about 25% over face in many different areas. We're even going to touch base with our guy, Mike from Connections Ticket Service at some point today during the program about what the ticket prices are. But a lot of people from Illinois, Bears fans, thinking they're going to come up, infiltrate Lambeau Field and cheer the Bears on to do what the Lions did to the Packers last year. So, and then you got the Bucks. What is it with the Pacers? Is it just that there's a matchup there that just doesn't work?
I think there's two things going on. I think one, the matchup is tough, yes, because the Bucks offense is amazing, but really the only offense in the NBA that's as good or better is the Pacers. So the Bucks can basically outscore anybody except the Pacers.
Yeah.
So I think the matchup is poor, yes. I also think there's this weird thing going on where now the Pacers just try really, really hard, and these Bucks games mean a lot to them. And that's good for them. They're a young and up and coming team. They're trying to make their mark. But I think the Bucks are like, man, screw this. Like, we're we're not obsessed with these games in January. So I think there's a couple factors at play. It's a bad matchup, but also I think the Pacers, just these games seemingly mean the world to them, and I guess more power to them.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like a little dumbfounded. I agree with you about the Pacers and the way they play this game, because they play this game hard when they face the Bucks. I mean, hard. They get after it, and it's like the Bucks just don't. I don't know if they look at the Pacers as a team they should beat, or if this is becoming a fast and furious, kind of target on the back rivalry type of game for the Pacers, and the Bucks are worried about the bigger kettle of fish or something. I don't know, but they just can't get past the Pacers, and I don't know what it is, because the Bucks are a better team. That maybe, and there's sometimes you just don't match up well, but when you've got guys that are shooting shots and they're not hitting them, that's the other part of the problem. But the Bucks just don't play defense. I mean, it's like something that's just if they're not hitting their shots, they will lose games. But, and Damian Lillard looks bad the last few. And some of the support, some of the guys coming off the bench are only getting a little bit of scoring, a guy like Pat Connaughton or Bobby Portis, but you don't get like across the board scoring from the bench. You're getting one guy a night that's really kind of contributing. And they just look bad, man. They just look bad. And like I said the other day, they wasted the triple-double from Giannis. That went by the wayside, and they all of a sudden, which was so in sync, they don't look in sync anymore. And so
I was talking about this with Rowdy this morning about you said the Bucks don't play defense. The Bucks defense should be better than this, Bill.
Right.
Like, I understand you lose Drew Holiday, great defender, but they still have Giannis. They still have Brooke. Like, they have better defensive personnel than you would think just looking at their numbers.
Right.
So Adrian Griffin, at some point, he's a defensive head coach. He's got to say, look, guys, I know we're not going to be as good as last year, but we got to be better than this. They got to figure some things out.
Right. No, completely agree. Completely agree. So the Bucks taking on the chin, and we've got we'll talk a little Michigan football today. The biggest question is, where is Harbaugh going to go? What was the contract that was offered to Harbaugh to stay at Michigan? It was crazy money. Did you see the numbers on it? I want to say it was over $100 million. It
Probably should be.
Yeah, it was like 10 years, $100 and something million to stay at Michigan. And which still, again, if it depends on what the NCAA is going to do, if they're going to also, speaking of that, did you see Connor Stallions had great seats? He was like 5 rows off the field at the Rose Bowl game.
They're going to take care of him at Michigan. Harbaugh, they're going to take care of him forever for taking the fall and keeping his mouth shut in all this.
Yeah. I would love to know who gave him his tickets. I would love to know where he got his tickets from. Thank you, Jeff. 10 years, $125 million for Harbaugh.
And a clause saying that he can't entertain NFL coaching offers for this upcoming year.
Right.
So that's part of it too. They said, hey, we'll give you all this.
Signs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is funny. A 10-year deal. It's like, all right, for only the first year, don't look at the NFL. It's funny they give these long deals knowing that damn well they're not going to be finished.
If I'm Michigan, I want that clause for 3 years, because once you get past a certain age and how many years you're over in the college ranks, going back to the NFL then doesn't seem as functional, I guess. For Harbaugh, even though he's been there, done that, but it would pretty much establish him that he is then a committed college coach and he's not going to jump to the NFL. So if I'm Michigan, I'm like, look, we've put up with your crap. You've cheated. You've lied. You've been suspended twice now. You're probably going to be suspended again. You've put our program in jeopardy. You've given us black eyes, and we're still willing to give you $120 million and put up with all this crap because you've put us in a national spotlight. So we're going to put our money where our mouth is. But we're going to say you're not entertaining anything from the NFL for at least 3 to 5 years, and see if he wants to sign that. And to me, that's a decent quid pro quo. But we'll see, because obviously everybody's up in arms that he hired this agent that is an NFL agent and not necessarily a college agent, and that he is now maybe entertaining more ideas. I know that the Raiders have kind of very quietly rumor mill wise jumped into the mix. There's thoughts about New England. There's thoughts about the Chargers. Obviously, Chicago, if they dump Eberflus. So, which you would assume that he's probably right now on the fence of keeping his job or not, because I know that, the McCaskey family would love to get him in. We'll talk more with Brad Biggs about that coming up here in a little bit from down in Chicago and the Chicago Tribune. So there's a lot of discussion about him possibly ending up there and what he could then do with the Bears and with Justin Fields in his progression over what has been done the last few years with Eberflus and company. So anyway, that's it. In the meantime, the Packers are back in the practice field today, and they have a laundry list of injuries. I mean, I think they've got like 17 guys on the injury report. It's lengthy. We'll go through that coming up in the next break. We got a lot to get to today. We're going to hear from Matt LaFleur, going to hear from Jordan Love, going to hear from Jaire Alexander, who spoke yesterday, in case you missed it last night on The Huddle, which was a fantastic show. Flew by last night. And both, by the way, for those wondering, Grant and I both chose the Packers to get the win. That's how confident we are. And the last time that happened was when we both chose the Packers to win was the Carolina game. Prior to that, the only other time we both chose the Packers to win was the Tampa Bay game. And they barely, in watching the clock run out, they barely beat Carolina, and then they ended up getting just smoked by Tampa Bay. So we both chose them to beat the Bears. So we hope that they can. Good God, I can't even imagine what Monday's going to be like if the Packers lose this contest. Can you imagine what Monday will be like on this program? The verve and vigor and just the vitriol that'll be flying out of everybody on Monday as the season comes to an end. I can't even imagine it.
I'm trying to figure out. So if they lose the game like 35-28 and the defense looks awful and they can't get a stop, then everyone's going to be mad, but it'll all just go on Joe Barry.
Right.
And that's nothing new. Right. If they lose in a game where the defense plays okay, I think Packers fans are going to be really upset with Matt LaFleur, and that'll kind of continue this very up and down kind of cycle we've been in with LaFleur, where it's like, man, he might be coach of the year. Also, he might lose the locker room. Oh, we're back to coach of the year. So it's, that would be nothing new. It depends on how they lose.
Yep. No, 100% agree. Let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show on this Thursday edition. Stay right where you're at. More coming up after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Even when the weather outside is frightful, your energy bill could be much more delightful. Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. You'll help kick the January blues when you choose to book by the 31st for 0% interest up to 36 months. You heard that right. No interest for up to 36 months if you book by January 31st. Pella's premium wood windows and patio doors feature distinguished craftsmanship and nearly endless possibilities, with maximum design flexibility in dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more. Hurry. To get the 0% interest up to 36 months, you have to book by January 31st. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Holiday season, it's come to an end, but that does not mean that you're not going to have family, friends over. Everybody going to be doing stuff inside, or maybe you just want to make your inside living space that much better. That's our friends at Master Z's. That's what they're here for. Master Z's got it going on. They have everything from indoor bars, bar stools. They have a huge showroom, by the way. If you're looking for a pool table, shuffleboard, dartboards, table games, all the accessories, they have it. If you need a pool cue, they have it. Pool balls, they have it. A rack, they have it. You know, if you, whatever you need, darts, dartboards, electronic and traditional. So they have everything, and they have high quality stuff, really good stuff. Give them a call, 262-746-5931, 262-746-5931 for all of the in-store specials. That's our friends at Master Z's on Blue Mound Road in Brookfield. Stop by and tell Rob and the whole staff we said hi. Good people over there. That's Master Z's on Blue Mound Road in Brookfield. Good stuff. The Green Bay Packers back on the practice field, and I had mentioned that, you know, they obviously have a laundry list of injuries that they're dealing with and trying to get guys back and healthy. We all know that, obviously. But can this team, yesterday we were talking about the injury report. And I had said, man, when you look at it and you've got everybody from Jaire all the way down to Emmanuel Wilson. I mean, I don't know how many guys are on here. God, you got Devondre Campbell, A.J. Dillon, Rudy Ford, Elton Jenkins, Aaron Jones, Isaiah McDuffie, Luke Musgrave, Josh Myers, Keyshawn Nixon, Jonathan Owens, Jaden Reed, Darnell Savage, T.J. Slayton, Preston Smith, Quay Walker, Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks, and a couple others. They're all on this. And this team has performed pretty well when they've had a lot of their starters, guys like Devondre Campbell and Jaire Alexander and company down. So what dynamic will it be? Because Matt LaFleur was asked specifically, look, is Jaire coming back? Is he get a starting job back now that he's back from the suspension? And Matt LaFleur was not going to tip his hand one way or the other, which was, you know, obvious, because why would you? You know, let them think, let them try to scheme for other guys. But you look at a guy like Devondre Campbell, who's got the neck issue. He had the ankle issue. The ankles seem to be, you know, kind of healed up. Now the neck seems to be healed up. He was a full participant yesterday, by the way. He would be, and I know there was some speculation after we got off the air last night, like, well, do you even want these guys back? Yes, you do. because the better the player you put on the field, the better chance you get. And you win this game, you want everybody kind of becoming comfortable again with each other going into the postseason. And Devondre Campbell, when healthy, still is a really quality middle linebacker. Plus, it then frees Quay Walker up to be the spy on Justin Fields. So, yes, I want to see these guys back. By the way, the concussion protocol and the neck issue for Isaiah McDuffie, he did not participate yesterday. And as Mike was telling us, man, to use the old term, he got his bell rung and did not look good leaving US Bank Stadium. So my assumption, and again, this is only an assumption, but when you see guys that are in that kind of a state, it usually is at least 10 to 14 days before they're recovered, because they're very, very, very cautious when it comes to that type of an injury. So I would assume you're not going to see a McDuffie, but I'm not going to say 100% you're going to count him out, but I'm leaning in that direction. Other guys that did not participate yesterday, Preston Smith, who has the ankle issue, did not participate. A.J. Dillon, he's got a neck injury now, and obviously that thumb. Rudy Ford has the hamstring. Elton Jenkins has the knee and an ankle. Did not participate. I mentioned Isaiah McDuffie. And then the other guy was Preston Smith. Everybody else was either limited or full participant yesterday in practice. And even some of the guys like Christian Watson, who was limited yesterday, he's got that hamstring, took part in some of the drills, but did not do a lot of the team stuff. I don't know if Christian Watson's going to make it back. Maybe if you don't absolutely positively need him, maybe you keep him another week and don't risk the injury. And if you do have to go on the road, and play, say, Dallas or somebody with, a turf field, a little more speed, maybe just save them for that, if you don't have to. Not to say that you have anything in the bank, because you don't. There's no guarantee you're going to win this game. This is going to be a tough one, but just some thinking ahead, so to speak. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to find us, go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Let's go to Tim, listening to us in Arizona. Tim, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Glad to have you, Bill. I like
you,
using
sir.
that statement. Hey, I got a couple of things. First, I'm going to congratulate you on yesterday's show. That was an outstanding interview you had with Ron Russell, because I like the way he tells it straight up, just like you, especially when he was saying 5 new starters on the defense, and he named each and every one that I had talked to you about.
Yep.
The reason why I like it just like you guys don't sugarcoat it. You got to tell me straight up, and that's the way I want it. 2, at the end, when you guys do your picks, well, I hope they win, because, it's been I'm a 64-year Packer fan, and I'm very apprehensive. I'm sitting on the fence because I just don't know what team to expect like you. This isn't like Lombardi or Holmgren coaching them. This is an offensive material. OC is fine. And going back to the schedule, I'm thinking already for next year with the schedule. Packers won that game 38-22 on opening day. It could have been a more of a thing, but Joe Barry had to play soft and give him that giddy touchdown at the end, so we got a 16-point difference. If the Packers lose this game by 16 or more points, we get the 4th place schedule. Otherwise, even if they do beat us by how much, it breaks down to, like I said, the points between the two teams first. Second, we go with the conference. Even though we're 1-1, we'll see how we did against each other, the teams. And then finally, within the division second, then the conference. So other than that, Bill, an outstanding job. I've been, I listen to you each and every day. And last thing, thanks for the plug, because I heard you say one time there's a guy out in Arizona that listens to me daily.
Yeah.
So thanks for the plug. And Bill, I'll tell you, if this is a loss, holy smokes, this is going to be, you better put on the asbestos underwear, because that's how hot, your seat's going to get.
Yep.
So I'm going to let you go before you get all your great guests in.
All right, buddy.
Let's have a good Sunday. Bye, Bill.
Thanks, pal. He drops off. You get on board 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Yeah, we've got Mark that listens to us quite a bit. We got, obviously, our buddy Gerard, who listens to us in Delaware, over in the New York area. We've got Max, who listens to us, Derek in Albany, And we got Graham, who listens to us every day in Scotland, which is awesome. And sometimes he doesn't listen live; he listens to the podcast, but he loves it. So we got people all over the world that listen to the program. So great stuff. This is and Pac Fan says the second, third, or fourth place schedule doesn't mean crap anymore. Yeah, it really doesn't. Even when you play, because you look at the way the teams were supposed to be this year and the strength of schedule that you were supposed to have. Every year it happens where you'll have this team that, goes to deep into the postseason or wins the Super Bowl, and they end up with the toughest schedule. They play the toughest schedule. But, then all of a sudden the lead, the quarterback for two or three of those teams goes down and it becomes a relatively easier schedule. And yeah, it just, your schedule's your schedule. It doesn't matter anymore. I mean, the nice thing is that sometimes you get more of the premier games at home versus on the road or whatever. But, it's not going to be the juggernaut, so to speak. I get it. You're not going to be playing Dallas, then Kansas City, then Philadelphia, then San Francisco. And, you go through that whole list, but everybody in your division pretty much plays the same. And then every now and then you get, that throw-in game, one or two of those throw-in games that's because of your strength of schedule. So anyway, 877-867-1670. Find us. This one's from Max. Max says, hey, Bill, great show. He says, I think the Bears are going to win this game just for the fact that the Bears are hungrier. The Packers always seem to play on their heels. I hope that I am wrong. As a Packers fan, going to be watching intently, but I am really scared of Justin Fields and what this offense is starting to do, and Joe Barry's lackluster defense that can't put games back-to-back together. That is from Max. Max, I hope you're wrong, man. I hope you're wrong. But that is the same level of trepidation, I think. Last night when I made my pick, that's the same level of trepidation I have as well. I couldn't agree more with you, because it's just, at what point do they start stacking defensive success? And I'm not specifically just calling out the defense. I'm calling out the aggressiveness of the play calling of the defense. That's I want to see more of what we saw in Minneapolis. I really do. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Point Brewing. Snow Pilot is out there. It's on the shelves. Go pick it up. Go get it. Enjoy the lager. Enjoy Cider Boys. So much of what they have seasonally is awesome stuff, and it's backed by popular demand. So Snow Pilot's on the shelves. Point Brewing's lager, the traditional lager, is always awesome. And then there is the Cider Boys line, which is absolutely freaking fantastic. Good stuff from our friends at Point Brewery, and one of our proud sponsors taking us out to Las Vegas for Super Bowl 58. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. Got a really, really nice letter. Email, I shouldn't say letter. From a gentleman who came into town. He actually came in from Oostburg. And his name is Bartholomew. Bartholomew had sent me an email and said that he really enjoyed. He went to downtown Waukesha. He was there for the Christmas parade and stopped over to Nice Ash. Ran into it, just kind of looked up, and there it was, and talked about what a great time he had on that Sunday, going in and watching the Packers game and having the Christmas parade go by, and just enjoyed. Now, didn't smoke cigars, but he said he did enjoy a couple of fingers of some whiskey, and also had himself a couple of draft beers from the local craft breweries. But said what a great atmosphere and great staff. Aaron was the server behind the bar, the bartender that day, and said what a joy it was to sit and talk with her and have some fun. So, Bartholomew, thank you so much for supporting some of the sponsors, and also downtown Waukesha. Good stuff. And it's certainly coming back. They've expanded it. They have cleaned up downtown Waukesha and done a lot of great things down there, and continue to drive business into that direction. They've got a couple of new restaurants that just opened, but Nice Ash Cigar Bar is kind of the hub. And I agree with you. 323 West Main Street, downtown Waukesha. Always love it when we hear from people that travel from the eastern portion of the state over to the western portion, and they stop into either Big Boar Barbecue or Buzzard Billy's or something to that effect, or go to one of our places in Viroqua or up in Rice Lake or Wausau area. And they try that, or people that come from the western portion of the state into Milwaukee and that area, and they come in and they say, hey, we tried this or this. and we loved it. So always love hearing that. And you know what? Here's the other thing. I love hearing when something isn't right. Now, it's great when it all is, but I know that a lot of the owners that advertise with us, they always want to know, hey, do you hear anything bad? What can we get better with? I was just talking about that yesterday to one of our sponsors, and he said, hey, do you ever hear anything bad? And I said, no, I hear nothing but good, but if I do, I'll let you know. But yeah, they always want to get better, which is great. So 323 West Main Street, downtown Waukesha. That's our friends at theniceash.com. Matt LaFleur yesterday talking to the media. We didn't play it last night for you on the huddle. I wanted to save it for today. Here's what he had to say.
Okay, the guys that did not participate were A.J. Dillon, Rudy Ford, Elton Jenkins, Isaiah McDuffie, and Preston Smith. Limited were Zane Anderson, Aaron Jones, Josh Myers, Luke Musgrave, Keyshawn Nixon, Jonathan Owens, Jay Reed, TJ Slayton, Quay Walker, Christian Watson, and Dontavian Wicks.
Did Dylan get that aggravated during the game?
Get his thumb?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had an aggravation during the game, yes.
What do you need to see Christian this week for him to play? And is there a way to kind of simulate the chemistry with the quarterback that he started to develop?
Yeah, I think, today it was mostly jog through. We did have an individual period. It's just going to be his ability to get through the week and show us that he can prove that to us that he can go out there and play. And I know he's eager to be out there. I think he had a good week last week in terms of his ability to run, and hopefully we can stack that and have him available for Sunday, because he'll definitely bring a spark just in terms of, even if it's on a limited basis. We've all seen his playmaking ability and just his intelligence out on the field, and being able to move him around wherever we may need him.
Man, what does Jaire have to show you this week to get his starting spot back? Is there anything, or is he just back in there?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into too many of the specifics. You guys will find out later in the week, but I will say that it was great to have him back. We had a great conversation on Monday, and I think he's ready to go.
Matt, you don't want to go through adversity, but both with the young squad, the wins and losses this year, and the injuries, of course, even young guys playing. Now that you've gone through those fires, what do you feel like you've gained when you reach this critical time of the year?
Well, it just shows, I think anytime you go through something tough and you can get through it, you're usually better for it. You're hardened. Certainly a lot of guys got experience that might not have gotten those meaningful reps. And, just hopefully we're a better and more battle-tested team. And we're going to need that, because there's adversity every week and within every game. And certainly, Chicago's weathered their fair share of adversity throughout the course of the season, and they've been playing really well. I think, you look at the last 6 games or whatever, I think they're plus 12 in the turnover margin, and, won a lot of games in that time frame.
You've got a lot of young guys in that locker room, and we've asked you a few questions about them, but we haven't asked you much about Preston, kind of being that old head and leadership role. What's he meant, and especially these past couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think Preston's just the model of consistency in terms of his availability. You can always count on him, and you have been able to do that for years. I think with a bunch of young guys in the locker room, to have a guy like him is invaluable. And I think, obviously he's played at a really high level for us and has made a lot of plays for us, but I think a lot of his contributions don't always necessarily show up on the stat sheet. Just his leadership and how he goes, and he's a pro.
The Bears defense is playing way better than it did earlier in the season. Aside from the addition of Montez Sweat, what's made them so different? How have they gotten so much better?
Well, I just think that it looks like a group that has played 16 games together. I mean, you look at their roster, and for the most part, most of those guys are healthy, and they've played a lot of ball together, and they've grown together, and you can see it. It's evident. This is a very well coached football team with very good players, and it's a very sound scheme. They do a great job of reading the quarterback and reading his eyes. They're stout against the run. So it's a great challenge. They do a great job of getting their hands on a lot of balls, whether it's punching the ball out, ripping the ball out, or, creating interceptions. So that's going to be a key for us, is just making sure that we take care of the ball. And it is a challenge because there's just not a lot of holes in their defense. They do a really good job of limiting explosive gains. And I mean, you have to earn everything you get.
You mentioned interceptions, like at 22. How do you create? You mentioned creating interceptions. How do they do that?
Well, they do a really good job of keying the quarterback and breaking on the football. And some of the interceptions are, whether it's D linemen getting their hand up in the air, or there's a lot of bang bang plays over the middle that they've been able to react to the throw and cause the ball to go up in the air and somebody picks it off. I think you look at the back end, a lot of those guys, they all have really good ball skills. They're able to get jumps. It's going to be very important that our wideouts are in sync with our quarterback in terms of the depths of their routes, syncing with the footwork of the quarterback. And he's going to have to do a great job with his eyes, because these guys read the QB as good as anybody.
Matt, Jason Leisure with Chicago Sun-Times. On that subject about their defense, does it look dramatically different from week one, where they had a different play caller, they didn't have sweat? Are you more reliant scouting-wise on what they've done recently?
I would say so, yeah. But I also think that just the more you do something, that you can tell they play faster. Everybody's on the same page. They just they don't bust, quite frankly, very often. They all play off one another very well. I think those two linebackers in the middle are a problem. Those guys, as good as tandem as probably there is in the league, in terms of just, again, their ability to read the quarterback, and the ball gets out and they break on the ball and they're making these bang, bang plays.
Matt, do you talk to the team at all about week 18 last year, or is that just in the past and not something?
Yeah, that's not something it's a totally different situation, totally different team. I know the circumstances around the game are the same, but we've been in this mode the last couple of weeks. This is about this year's group, and I think as a coach, you might take a few nuggets here and there in terms of what you learned from past experiences, but our sole focus is on the Chicago Bears right now.
Not a lot of guys though who stood on that field and realized they had blown a golden opportunity, and what it's like to experience that. You don't want them to express that to the rookies?
Well, I think it's just a totally different squad. I think there's a different vibe around here. There's a different mindset. We got to go attack. That's the bottom line. We got to go attack. We got to go and play like we have been the last few weeks. Just with the mindset, the mentality, whatever it takes. And we know we got a great challenge in front of us. The Chicago Bears team is as improved as any team in the league, and it's evident when you turn on the tape.
Matt, with Jordan Love, we saw that big game in Chicago in week one, and then tapered off a little bit and seems to have found his rhythm again. Is there a game that you look at as kind of a turning point for him this season?
Yeah, I think there was, I think I said it the other day, I thought that there was, although we lost the game, there was a lot of good that came out of the Pittsburgh game. There were some plays in there that we were making that it felt like there was kind of a light bulb that went on for everybody. And there was a little bit different shift. Up to this point. And so we've got to obviously continue. Each game has different challenges in terms of how you're going to attack somebody from an offensive standpoint. But I think there was just a lot of growth, not only from him, but the guys around him as well.
As you went about kind of building on the positives from that and making the offense into what it is now, what were the plays from that game that stood out like, okay, we can build on this?
Well, I just think, I think we were able to generate some explosive plays within that game. And then there were plays that maybe we didn't make, but I felt confidence moving forward that given those same looks, we're going to make those plays. So, it's been a cool process to watch these guys grow together. It really has. I know there were some frustrating moments along the way, and I think we're far from a finished product, and I just think this group's got a lot of potential.
We've asked you a couple times over the years about getting the ball to Aaron Jones more. He's 29 now, and I'm not sure that a lot of running backs can kind of have the injury late in the season that he's had and come back and be fresh at the end at this stage of their career. How much do you think that low mileage maybe benefits at this stage of his career to be able to come back and be fresh at this age?
Yeah, I think it's been huge for us. I think you've seen it the last 2 weeks with him getting, 20 plus touches the last 2 games, and just how explosive he's been. We've had a lot of, I don't know what the number is, but in terms of explosion runs, I feel like we've had more in the last couple of weeks than we had maybe the rest of the season. So just his ability to do that, to generate some of those explosion runs, has been huge for our offense. It takes so much pressure off everybody when you're able to do that in the run game. And like I said earlier, this Chicago team does a really good job against the run. So we're going to have our work cut out for us.
Is that a byproduct of the lower mileage? I mean, he hasn't had to be throughout his entire career, the sole ball carrier. He's always kind of been in that tandem. Is that a byproduct of that, or is it just kind of who he is?
Are you saying like his ability to create some? Yeah, I think it's a byproduct of a lot of things. I think we've gotten better up front, quite frankly. I think, we've done a pretty decent job throughout the majority of the season in pass protection, but I do think our offensive line's ability to come off the ball, I think our tight ends are blocking better. So I think it's a byproduct of everybody's ability.
In your experience, Matt, how hard has it been the second time around to beat a team the second time? Obviously, with Detroit, Minnesota, you flipped the script in second games this year.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about that is I think it's always hard. I think every game in this league is hard. I mean, you look at the majority of the league, it's as balanced as I feel like that I can remember in my time in this league. So I think it's always a challenge. I think just going back and watching the game from week 1, it feels like it was last season. It feels like so long ago. So I think when you look at our team and you look at their team, I think we're two totally different teams. So it's going to be a new set of challenges for both of us.
I think it was the Pittsburgh game when they led us into your visitors' locker room. They turned to the right. Here's 5 receivers in folding chairs talking to each other, breaking down the game. And they told us that this is something they were starting to do. And you're aware of that now. Is that pretty special?
Yeah, I would say so, just in terms of just getting everybody on the same page and pulling the same direction. I think, those guys rally around each other. It's fun to the one thing you love about especially that group is, I think innately they all want the ball, right? I mean, you don't want receivers on your team that don't want to get the football, but to see their genuine enthusiasm for their teammates when they're scoring touchdowns or they're getting receptions, to see how they responded to Bo Melton after the game. I mean, that was pretty special. And I think we do have a special group that they're a close-knit group. They're all like kind of in the same spot in terms of second year or younger. And so that it's been cool to just see that whole room kind of grow up together.
There you go. That was Matt LaFleur talking to the media yesterday. Let's do this. We're going to step out, take a quick break. We'll come back. We got a lot more to get to. Hang in there. More of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill